Hey voters, Anthony the Internet Politician here, and today we will be discussing Ohio Form 10A provided by the Ohio Secretary of State. Now, this form, titled Ohio Voter Registration Cancellation Request RC 3503.21, is very simply how one unregisters to vote. Once submitted to your county's Board of Elections, this form will remove you from the voter rolls. Sure, you can re-register to vote at any time. Also, depending upon how closely your county ties its jury duty selection records together, you may even get out of being selected for jury duty. So, plus sides all around, maybe. Now, the reason why you would want to choose to cancel your registration to vote is primarily because you're fed up with the political system here in the United States. Since, I don't know, between 2016 and 2020, politics has become kind of a very bad place to exist. There was a period of time, pretty much, if you skip around the early 1900s, all the way back to the late 1700s, politics wasn't too horrid. Like, I didn't have nightmares about politics back in 1780, you know? But, and by the way, if you know your history, early 1900s, it was just a butt ton of corruption in the U.S. government. I digress. So the reason why you might want to remove yourself from voting is maybe you just want out of the electoral process entirely. And then that's all this form does, is remove you from that. And during just the way things are, Democrats and Republicans fighting, not getting along, no way to compromise. Apparently, we're to that point where people go, oh, it's Civil War time. I highly doubt that, but I remember prior to 2016, no matter whose president was in office, there was at least some effort to find middle ground, and there isn't that anymore. And you go, why are we bringing up Form 10A from Ohio Secretary of State? Well, for the last year or so, I've been going, do I want to still be part of the electoral process? Do I really want to vote? I don't think my vote matters. And that's not hypothetical. This is really how I feel. And I've thought about it over and over again. Do I really want to submit this form? Now, right now, I'm on the no side of the fence, but are things getting worse? I'm not going to name presidents here, although I will mention that Ohio has had 8 presidents, which I believe is somewhere around 1/5 of the total presidents in the United States. And keep in mind, the one in the early 1900s I'm talking about, it was super corrupt, was from Ohio. I feel like something's wrong. There's something wrong in our political system where there is no middle road anymore. Everybody feels like the other side is lying, and that sucks. Now, how do I put this? Prior to 2016's election, maybe 10% of the population here in the United States thought there's some type of conspiracy, governmental conspiracy about something, doing something, whatever. But after the 2016 election, going into 2020, it is up to 40%. Like, legit, half of the country thinks that there's some type of conspiracy going on, and that's why their candidate didn't get elected to office. You have to go, am I in the right country? Like, trying to think, like, another time where this has happened, and really, none. There has no other time in the United States where, I mean, other than, obviously, the lead up to the Civil War, where a large portion of the country thought they were being betrayed. Now, what really bothers me is that a number of the states in which I think there's 7, where people swear there was corruption, despite the fact that the governments in a number of those states are Republican in this case, and despite the Republican secretaries of states going, hey, everything was handled above the board, the numbers don't lie, we still have all of these efforts by people to say, well, they're lying. They're part of the problem. They're part of the conspiracy. And as we go through the January 6th Commission and they start digging up all of this stuff, we see that it wasn't just individuals. There were a number of elected officials. I mean, and we knew this, but we didn't know how many. Elected officials that were deep into it, like helping to basically overthrow the government. We were aware of the president. We were aware of a number of his cronies. First off, Mike Pence is awesome. So yeah, obviously he's not part of this group, but I mean, awesome in the, he's a legit political guy who knows his stuff, willing to work both sides. But I mean, how do I go? A lot of people that you were thought, well, maybe they were the conscience in the ear of the former president, and we see logs of them going, okay, we've gone too far. We need to turn this boat around. Things are going crazy, but yet we still have those super loyal people who will kiss the ring. And the problem is they have followers above the other followers from the president, on top of other followers from QAnon, for example. That you think about the political process now and you go, maybe I should fill out and submit Form 10A. Now, let's say you did. Let's say you filled it out and now you want to drop it off. You have to take it to your county board of elections. It has to be something like 20 to 30 days before an election for you to be removed from the rolls, I guess. Any later, and then you'll still be on the rolls for voting. But sooner than that would be better. Frankly, if you don't care, just submit it any old time. But what does it really say when you do that? Not much. The county person at the board of elections who handles your paperwork to remove you from the rolls is just doing go into a computer file, remove your name, done. It doesn't say something to them. It doesn't say, I am disappointed with the political system as it stands, so I'm removing myself from it. What would be just a whole mass of people removing themselves in a campaign. But then here lies the other problem. What if it's so much so that we skew the vote in a less favorable direction? We could probably all agree that George Bush Jr. was a decent enough president. So was Obama. So was Clinton, despite any of their individual flaws. So even if such characters got elected, we'd be okay with it. But we now live in a society where if we got people to reject politics en masse and remove themselves from voter rolls, how bad would the situation then become? Basically, removing our vote of us sane-minded people who trust in the system, we leave it open for the nuts. We leave it open for the crazies. We leave it open to the conspiracy theorists. So does Form 10A make sense? And that's why I'm currently on the no side. I'm not going to fill this out, nor am I going to submit it. So I guess the question is, where are you on the fence? Are you sternly like, I'm going to keep voting, or are you really thinking about ending that part of your life? Just, I don't need to go vote 2-3 times a year. I think I'm done. Like, is that what you're thinking? In which case, leave a comment. I would love to know. And a nice discussion gets started. That's great. But because when I do things political, I want to say, do not make it about candidates. While I personally am fiscally conservative, socially liberal, I like candidates for what they're saying they're going to do, and hopefully once in office do that if they can. Sometimes not everything gets done that you may want done, and that is how politics works. Recently, for example, Biden tried to do that infrastructure bill, and it's slowly been weeded down and cut and sliced, and this is how the government works. It's a system of compromise. The problem is we are so far up our butts on one side or another that the stubbornness is preventing any type of compromise, really. Because even when we get to the point where everybody says, okay, we got what we wanted, they still don't vote for it. Then I go back and say, are you ready to sign Form 10A now? It's a game of inches, but the thing is, no one's willing to give up anything. And that makes me sad. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe.